I don't like vegetables, and it's kind of a problem because I can't just eat frozen pizza products to stay alive. So today I'm going to be trying out 3 different recipes, all involving zucchinis, so that I can maybe like vegetables. The first recipe that I'm going to try is called Easy Air Fryer Zucchini Chips, and it is from staysnatched.com. So the first thing I did was take a zucchini, and I used my KitchenAid slicer attachment in order to slice it up as thin as possible, much thinner than I could have gotten it just with my knife. I laid them out on some cooling racks over top of a paper towel, and I salted both sides and let them set for 30 minutes. So now that they've set, I'm going to get ready to bread them. What I'm going to need is flour. You can use whatever seasoning you want. I think I'm just going to do onion, garlic, and some pepper. I can salt it afterwards if they need it, since I'm doing the salt brine sort of. Also going to need eggs and breadcrumbs. Recipe says to spray the actual slices, like the chips themselves, with cooking spray. So here are my breaded chips. I can't see what the camera's seeing, so I'm just moving them around. Beautiful. And I'm going to just spray them with cooking spray. I don't really know what that's gonna do. I guess maybe it'll help it stick. But I'm just gonna kind of probably spray it all over my counter too, but okay. I'm gonna flip them all over and spray the other side. I don't know what this does, but I'm doing it. I don't know if I'm supposed to spray it on quite that much. This says to spray them, so I'm spraying them. And I got it everywhere else too. Now I'm just gonna, now that this has been preheating for a couple minutes, I'm just going to lay these in here in the basket in a single layer. And then we're just gonna put them in and leave them in for 5 minutes. Okay, it's been 5 minutes, so now I'm just gonna flip each and every one over. Ooh, and they're looking crispy, that's good. Ooh, they're feeling crispy. This is difficult. I feel like this step seems unnecessary with the holes in the bottom, but just trying to follow. It is smelling pretty good. So happy about that. And now I can't, once I get down here, I'm gonna forget which ones I've already flipped because they don't look very different once they're flipped over. So I feel like this is unnecessary. It might be necessary depending on, I think I flipped that one twice, I don't know. It might depend on what kind of air fryer you've got, but this one has like a really big space. It has space on the bottom, so the air circulates down there too, and all these holes. So I'm having a lot of trouble. Maybe these tiny little tongs weren't the tool to use for this. Oh, I think I flipped that one. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna try and flip them, but it doesn't seem to, they look the same on both sides. So now they're gonna go for about 6 more minutes. So here they are, completely finished. They got nice and brown. I ended up taking them out a little bit early, maybe because I didn't use the cheese. The author put Parmesan cheese on, and maybe that would have needed a little more time to melt and brown. But with just the breadcrumbs, they look really good coming out. They smell good. They feel really crispy. So I'm just gonna get my spouse to come down and try them with me. Would you like to try a zucchini chip? I feel like chip isn't quite the right descriptor. It's not bad. It's not very good. Just under seasoned.
Yeah, it needs the texture is good.
Yeah, no, the texture's
The
not bad at
zucchini
all.
itself is, I mean, it's more bready than zucchini, so.
Well, I mean, yeah, does the bread cancel out the zucchini?
No, I didn't taste it. It just
I mean,
tasted
health.
like
I mean, health benefit wise.
probably. I mean, it
I'm
just
gonna
tasted.
sprinkle a little bit of paprika, which the recipe author put in it,
Like,
and I'm gonna do a
it
little
tastes
bit.
like an off-tasting potato chip. Like,
I mean,
the texture.
I feel like that's what it's going for. But yeah, definitely needed to do the drying out before, because I would not like it if it was mushy in the middle.
No, because the whole point of like air frying things is to get a nice crunch.
Okay,
Crispy skin.
I just put paprika and garlic salt on them.
I'll try this one that has a lot of it.
Better.
Is that breadcrumb crust?
Yeah.
Yeah, breadcrumb is just a bit overpowering still.
But would you finish this plate?
As a snack?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for that extent, I think it's a success.
I'd make it again.
Yeah.
I just mean it wasn't that hard, and it's not bad.
Like the effort level was low for what it is.
Well, you had to
It's time.
slice everything and you had to bread everything, so it's not that big of a deal to me.
Yeah, they have a good
And I
healthy.
keep going back to them.
I think it's a good healthy snack.
So I like
Especially
the
young
texture.
Kids, like they probably eat it and be like, oh, it's like a chip. They just think it's a chip.
I give it a 6 out of 10.
Expectations were like 5 out of 10. Reality is probably like 7.5. out of
Okay,
10.
my expectations were way lower than that.
No, I expected just.
I was
right,
not
I
expecting
think it
it
was
to
right
be
in the
good.
middle. So I would say like 7 out of 10 in reality, like maybe 7.5 out of 10. Like not like fantastic, but not bad.
Add more seasoning. As a note. So it's a different day. I'm on to recipe number 2. We are cooking roasted Mexican zucchini from bowlofdelicious.com. What I've done so far is I diced up 1 zucchini, I put it in a bowl with some oil, with some chili powder, onion powder, garlic salt, cayenne, and pepper, mixed it all around so that it was all evenly coated, and then I spread it out in 1 layer in a pan with some parchment paper on the bottom, and I popped it in the oven for 25 minutes at 425 degrees Fahrenheit. It smells farty. It smells real farty.
What was it supposed to be?
It's supposed to be a replacement for rice and beans, like a low-calorie side for Mexican food. So I'm gonna try it. I did not like how it felt putting the fork into it because it felt very mushy, and I'm not excited. And my stomach hurts because I'm really hungry, so maybe I'll like it, but
You're scaring me.
the seasoning is good,
The
but I don't
texture?
like it. The texture's alright. It's better than I expected when I stuck it in. I don't know if maybe if you got the smaller pieces. Wait. The seasoning is good because it's just
Oh, the texture.
yeah, no.
It's like undercooked hash brown texture.
That's what, when I was pulling it out, I was like, oh, it looks kind of like hash browns. Maybe it'll be nice and crisp on the outside.
Taste is
I
good.
like the seasoning.
The taste is good in general.
Yeah, overall. Maybe if we did it in the air
The
fryer,
taste is spicy.
maybe if we did it in the air fryer like the other one and got it crispy.
And they had a cast iron pan in the air fryer or something.
Yeah.
Like tossed it.
I'm gonna give it a 4.
I mean, flavor-wise, I like your seasoning, but on the spicy side, I'd give the taste 8 out of 10, but the texture a 2 out of 10.
And the smell is
Well, the
throwing
smell-
off the taste to me.
This would be good in
The spice is getting me a little bit in the back of the
This
throat.
would be good in rice. In rice. With it.
Well, you do like a Mexican stir fry.
Yeah, like with rice, I think it'd be good because the texture wouldn't bother me. Because the flavor's so good that it'd be fine. By itself as a dish, it's a no for me, dog.
No. It is another new day, and we're doing our last recipe. I have to say that I'm very tired, not of zucchini, just in general. So our last recipe is stuffed zucchini with sausage and Parmesan from wellplated.com. So it's already in the oven as before the other days. I've already done the work, a lot of the work. So what I did was half my zucchinis and then try to scoop out the middle part and save that inside. And then I chopped up bell pepper, onion, and I roughly chopped up that inner flesh from the zucchinis. And then I took half a pound of Italian sausage. The recipe calls for turkey sausage, and that would have been a little bit better for me, obviously, but I couldn't get a hold of any, so I had to use pork sausage, which really just means that I'll probably like this recipe more because it's greasy, bad for you pork sausage. I cooked that, chopped it all up with a little chopper, and put in my onion and bell pepper, let those simmer and cook together until I think they were cooked. I added in salt and pepper, then I added in some tomato paste and some minced garlic and stirred that all up and let that cook for about a minute, and then I added that zucchini flesh, which is what the recipe calls. I'm not being weird, that's what the recipe calls it. And I cooked that for a while, removed that from the heat. Then I broke out my KitchenAid slicer shredder again, shredded up some Parmesan cheese. It was very, very good, and I'll enjoy every second of it probably. Then I toasted 2 toasts. Then I put in a food processor, which to me is just a ninja blender. Anytime a recipe calls for a food processor, I just use this because it's the same thing. I food processed together the toast to make breadcrumbs. I put in basil. The recipe calls for, I didn't realize how much, 1/4 cup of fresh basil. I didn't think it was worth buying it because I thought it was probably only like a tablespoon. I didn't actually look at the recipe, I guess. So I used some just dried basil that I had and some of that fresh grated Parmesan and a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. Then I mixed half of that breadcrumb mix in with the meat, and I started filling the zucchini boats and topped them with the rest of the breadcrumbs, and I put a little extra cheese on some of them and put them in the oven. And now we're waiting 7 more minutes, but 15 total. I mean, is this dinner?
I don't know.
It's big enough to be dinner.
Yeah, I think if I ate 2 of them, I think it'd be big enough for dinner.
Yeah.
Without eating later, I mean.
I'm gonna give it its best chance and slice off the end.
I'll take a middle piece.
And take a middle.
I'll do this.
You shouldn't take my piece?
Yeah.
Rude.
The smell vibe it was giving me is meh, because it smells like a Supreme pizza.
Yeah.
And I hate Supreme pizza, like that texture, that taste. The
I think it
texture.
smells good because it just smells like pork and basil to me.
Probably really hot still. It's like burning my finger hot.
I'm not mad at it. Is it my favorite thing I ever ate? No. But will I eat this for dinner? Yeah. Am I really hungry? Also yes. What do you think?
I think it's being carried very hard by the Italian sausage.
Oh, hell yeah.
The zucchini itself isn't that strong of flavor. It has strong texture though.
It's just a texture.
But then you also.
But I like this texture better.
Way better than yesterday's, yes.
Than the diced
Because
one.
it's more crunchy.
Yeah.
But then you throw in the after the zucchini, but then the crunch, like the taste of the peppers are really strong. I like green pepper, red pepper.
I think it's carried enough that I'll eat both, at least 2 of these.
Like I think I prefer
for my dinner.
I think I prefer to see make it a little. Like I know it's supposed to be Italian, right? Italian sausage. But to me, I think I'd rather see a little more spice levels in there.
I actually like it.
I'd like to see a spicy.
If it was spicier.
I think if we had a spicy pepper in there, instead of a red bell pepper.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what's getting to me is when I like
Well,
Italian
you
food.
can throw some like cayenne on it or something. Paprika.
Yeah.
Just swallow something whole.
I think it just needs some spice to help get over a little bit for me.
What do you rate this one?
I mean, from my expectations were like, honestly, this is probably the lowest expectations I had of all of them so far. Because it's just the fact that there's like a half zucchini basically.
I saved this one for last because I was like, it's the one that has the sausage on it.
Yes, but I was worried about the size of the zucchini. My expectations
Yeah.
were straight up like 3 out of 10 at best because of that, and the 3 coming from the sausage.
I
would say it was.
I was expecting 5, but I'm gonna give it. What are you gonna give it first?
I gave the chips a 7 out of 10 when it had seasoning on it, right? With
once you add seasoning.
So like, I think if I had some spicy like cayenne pepper on there, it's gonna give it a kick for me. I could give it a. I think it's the best one of the 3.
Yeah.
But only just. I put like 7.5.
I was gonna give it a 7.5.
Just and it's just texture. Like I couldn't eat that for my dinner. I could eat a bite or 2 and enjoy it. I think.
Yeah.
And
But you could make it for appetizers or side.
Yeah, like I think it's good.
Or you could also, instead of making it in this format, you could slice them.
Yes, if
like a kind of thick slice with just some of this topping and the cheese.
Yeah, I think that like a cracker almost like.
Yeah.
I think it's just too much of the texture. I mean, I did a thick bite too. If I got like this end right here, a little better when it's thinner. Maybe that means veggies on pizza to me.
Let's
not
rank then.
I think
the worst one was obviously the Mexican one because
the flavor was my favorite. That flavor of that was by far my favorite.
Okay.
But the texture was by far my worst. Like I put 0 to 5 for texture on that one and a 5 out of 10.
I put my worst one purely for texture.
Worst one texture is that one. Next would be for me would be this one because of texture. But if we went with flavor,
I just really like meat.
The average is average is best on this.
Yes.
Because I think the best texture was the chips. I think the texture was perfect.
Yeah, well, because it was so thin and it had just a layer of bread all the way around it.
The texture was 5 out of 5 on that one, whereas the other one was 0 out of 5 for texture, and this one's like a 2.5 out of texture for me, and pretty much a 5.
I don't think the texture is bad.
It's like this weird middle ground of like between like chewy and noodle. You know what I'm saying? Like a doughy thing, a noodle. It's like somewhere in between there with a weird crunch from a vegetable. And I don't hate it, but it's not my favorite.
I'm not mad at it.
No, I think it's a success. I think you did a great job.
I think we'd more likely make the chips the most out of this, partly because of the intensive, just because it's so much easier to make the chips than this to me. Because overall, I would say that this whole thing worked out way better than I thought it would. I had very low hopes that we would like any of them. But I partly chose zucchini because I knew it wasn't one that either one of us had particularly strong feelings.
One way or the other.
Yeah. So, I call it a success. That's it. That's the video. Alright, bye!